Hi everybody, thanks so much for clicking on the video today. Today's video is not going to be my typical New York City vlog. I have a little bit more of a serious matter to talk to you about today. It's why, if you didn't catch my community post from last week, I wasn't able to post a vlog last week, even though I had already filmed it. I just didn't have the opportunity to edit it. I still have that footage. It will go live, but before I put that video out, I wanted to update you on kind of what happened last week, because if you can gather from the title of the video, it is a bit more of a serious topic. Regarding my cat Delilah, who's chilling in the back there. I know I don't owe anyone an explanation or anything, but because of like the nature of my channel, a lot of you have found my channel through my cat content, and you were there when I rescued both of my cats. Gordo's right here. Yeah, and that's Delilah. I feel like you all are kind of attached to my cats as well, because you see your own relationship with your own cats in my relationship with my cats. This video is for you if you're just interested in this update. If you're not, you know, I have more videos coming, so that are like more aligned with my regular content. So if this is something like you don't follow me for cat content, then there's no pressure to watch at all. This is just for whoever wants this information, whoever cares about my cats the way that I do. I don't expect this video to get a ton of views at all. Like, it's just seriously for the people who have been following my channel for a while since I've had them, and you maybe found my channel through my cats and you're a cat person, because I know not all of you are, and that's totally fine. So I feel like it'll be helpful to kind of describe the situation, taking you through the timeline of like what happened. Hey, Del. So last Tuesday night, I was sitting on my couch about to like edit a video, and out of the corner of my eye, I see Delilah kind of just roll off the couch, and I hear a big thump. And then I'm like, you know, that doesn't really sound like her, because she's definitely a cat that's sprightly, very light on her feet. And I was like, When she's exiting the room, I hear Gordo and her intercept, and it's also loud, and I'm like, this is just not normal. So I get off the couch and I go out into the living room, and she's kind of walking very strange. So she has maybe like one hind leg and one front leg that are kind of stiff, so it's making it hard for her to walk, or she's walking very weird. It's hard for me to describe, and I haven't been able to find a video online that accurately depicts what I saw. Basically, she rolled over onto her side and was just kind of stuck there. She was just frozen, and her pupils in her eyes were really, really big. She was frozen there for maybe 10, 15 seconds. I was like, oh my God, I need to get this on video. And my phone is so freaking old that I couldn't get the video to start because my phone was freezing up. So I caught the last like maybe 2 seconds of her held in that position and then transitioning out of it. She transitioned back into pretty normal behavior, but like she didn't want to stand up fully. She was just on her stomach and just kind of walking around slowly like this. And I was like, that is not good. My ringers were going off. At this point, it's about 9 o'clock at night. My current vet in my neighborhood, it is just a regular veterinary clinic, and it's also now an emergency vet, so it's open 24 hours. So I call, and the guy was like, well, if she's acting normal, you know, you can just monitor her. And I'm like, can I just make an appointment just to be safe? So he booked me an appointment for 10 o'clock. So I go in. It's a lot of waiting around because the ER was pretty full. And in their eyes, she didn't rank as like an urgent case. To me, this is urgent, but I guess to the vet, I understand like their perspective, and it's not necessarily urgent. Like if a cat eats a lily, or if a cat's having like active seizures or something, like they're gonna prioritize that cat over Delilah, which I totally get. So they took her to the back. I was in the room for about 2 hours. Now it's about midnight. So they bring her back in. They didn't run any tests. They were just kind of holding her, and they recognized that she had a heart murmur. And they described it to me as a grade 2 heart murmur. They were like, you know, we can run additional tests, but it's definitely going to be a wait, and she seems very anxious. So why don't we, like, if you're okay with it, why don't we send you home with some gabapentin, and then you can give her that in the morning, come back, and she'll be a little bit more relaxed, and then we can run the test that we need to run. So I was like, okay. So I brought her in the next day, gave her the gabapentin, and then, so now it's Wednesday morning. Silly me, I realized I forgot an important part of the story. The second day at the vet, when we're back in the morning after she had the gabapentin, whatever, that doctor said that her heart murmur was a grade 3 to grade 4. So yesterday it was grade 2, and now it's grade 3 to grade 4. So that can be more of a indication of underlying heart disease. Not all animals with heart murmurs have heart disease. A lot of animals can live happy lives unmedicated with heart murmurs. I'm not trying to scare anybody here. I'm just explaining Deli's circumstance, but it doesn't apply to every animal. Obviously, I hope you know this by now. I'm not a vet. I'm not a doctor. I've just been in the depths of Reddit and the depths of ChatGPT, scientific articles and journals. We're trying to like read and decipher about this. So just take everything I say now and in this video with a grain of salt, and make sure to do your own research. Okay, I'm not trying to scare anybody. And so they run a pro B&B. I get the acronym mixed up in my head. I'll put it up on the screen. It's a SNAP test that basically determines whether they need to pursue further testing. It doesn't really indicate anything about the heart except if you need to do more invasive tests. So I found out Thursday morning that the blood work that she did in that pro B&B test came back abnormal. The blood work came back fine, like her organs are okay, which was like amazing. But the SNAP test came back abnormal. So they were like, this is Thursday afternoon. And so they're like, okay, why don't you take her into another location, because we don't have the equipment here to run an echocardiogram, which is an ultrasound of the heart. So they scheduled me in for the next day on Friday to take her in the evening to do the echo to see if she has any heart disease or what's wrong. So I'm like, okay, now I'm a little bit panicking because I don't understand like if there's a correlation between the episode that I saw and what's happening with the heart. They don't really know. I take her in on Friday for the echo. I pick her up like hours and hours later, and then Saturday morning I get an email with the ultrasound results, and then I also get a call from the vet. I was really, really impressed with the patient care. They were very tender with me because as I'm talking about pet health, if you guys have been following my channel long enough, or you've binge watched or anything, or you've looked back on my old videos, you might know that I lost a rabbit very suddenly in 2023. And like 2 weeks after I adopted the rabbit died suddenly of an obstruction, and the rabbit died in surgery, and it was very unexpected and extremely traumatizing. Like, I don't know if I can convey like how deeply that affected me, and I didn't want to get animals for a long time, so getting these cats was like a huge step for me. Anyways, on the call from the vet, I'm going to actually, so I don't mess anything up, I'm going to read the report that they gave. When I first got this, I was like, what the heck? And then I went on Reddit and then I freaked out. Please see attached the results of the echo that was done Friday. The cardiologist feels that there's a possibility of a congenital mitral valve dysplasia causing severe left ventricular outflow tract obstruction and secondary left ventricular hypertrophy. With congenital mitral valve dysplasia, if we can control the systolic anterior motion of the mitral valve with medications, we can remove the left ventricular outflow tract obstruction and pressure overload on the left ventricle, which can sometimes lead to improvement or resolution of the left ventricular hypertrophy. The recommendations are to start a medication called atenolol. This will help with controlling the movement of the heart flow. The cardiologist would also like to recheck the echo in 6 months to see if there's any improvement or resolution of the left ventricular hypertrophy. So that was a summarization of the vet from the cardiologist notes, because it was a specialist that did her echocardiogram. The cardiologist also said hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, HCM, is another differential. However, this is not consistent with the long-standing murmur in this 1-year-old patient. So a congenital basically means that it was formed since birth, likely formed since birth. So the ChatGPT version of those doctor notes are, your cat likely has a congenital heart condition called mitral valve dysplasia. This means the mitral valve in her heart didn't form quite right before birth. The mitral valve leaflets are a bit too long and move abnormally during heartbeats, which causes a partial blockage in blood flow leaving the heart. This obstruction puts extra pressure on the heart, which has caused the heart walls to thicken. This is called left ventricular hypertrophy. Despite this, her heart is still pumping normally right now. The cardiologist recommends atenolol, a heart medication that helps calm the abnormal valve movement. The goal is to relieve the blockage and reduce pressure on her heart, which may even reverse the thickening of the heart walls. There's no issues with the right side of her heart. The valves, vessels, and surrounding areas all appear normal. There's no sign of fluid buildup or tumors. While a different condition, HCM, was considered, it's less likely because of the long-standing heart murmur that fits better with the congenital issue. A brain-related cause is still a remote possibility if unusual symptoms develop. When I brought her in to get her spayed in November, that's like 6 months ago, they didn't detect any murmur. She was under anesthesia. They gave like glowing reports for her performance under anesthesia and in the surgery, and in recovery, I saw no issues. So if there was a murmur or something, they just didn't detect it. You're likely a pet owner or just someone who cares about animals. If you're watching this video, you know how just devastating any like type of diagnosis is. Although this was not a definitive diagnosis of congenital mitral valve dysplasia, it is pretty likely. So, yeah. I'm going to be starting her on a medication, and in 6 months I'm going to take her back like the doctor said to do, like the cardiologist said to do, and then we're going to see it's food time for them. That's my feeder. In 6 months I'm going to take her back in and see if the medication worked. The part of the report that really gave me hope was the fact that it's something that can be stabilized. It's a relief that it can be controlled by medication, but like best case scenario, she improves so much that she can just be maintained with medication for the rest of her life. But in the next 6 months, if the medication does not work, then it could be more complicated than that. And I think that's what, I thought I got all my tears out, but that's what really scares me, is to have to like wait 6 months for one just to see like if she officially has this, or to see if she has any improvements. I think that's going to be pretty hard on me. There's hope for sure, but there's also risk that she doesn't take to the medication. The odds are good, but it is very, very scary. Like, I'm trying to stay, you know, I've cried a lot in the last week. I don't want her to like be in any pain. I don't want anything to happen to my babies at all. I don't know if I can even convey just how much I love them. They're not just cats to me. They're like the closest experience I've had to like unconditional love that's not complicated. They're my whole world. Like, they're only a part of my videos that you see in my vlogs. They're just kind of there as I go about, but I'm only filming like a small percentage of my actual life. They're with me that entire rest of the time. I'm so attached to them. Also exploring emotions of like, in the past, my relationships with humans, if, you know, I thought that there was odds that we wouldn't, you know, end up together, I would start to detach from them to spare myself the emotional pain when it inevitably ended. And with something like this, with a cat as precious as Delilah is, I'm not gonna stop loving her throughout any of this. Like, it's a challenge for me to like stay there and stay strong, because she can sense my anxiety. And I am anxious about it, and I am very fearful about it. But I feel like I can't afford to think any thoughts other than just hopeful ones. Hey, girl. Hi. Because it will wreck me if I don't think positively or have hope or affirm to myself that she's so strong, she's so resilient, that I'm so strong and I'm so resilient, then I will lose hope and she will pick up on that. They're like really incredibly smart animals. I want what's best for her. I'm doing everything I can to like make sure and we know what's happening. It's hard when I'm like cuddling with her and playing with her and holding her and petting her and loving on her like I always do, that there might be limited time. She's so, so young. I'm appreciating every cuddle even more. And if anything, it's comforting that I get time with her. As you can see from the report, she is still in really good condition. We still don't know if the episode I saw is related to it. I'm just so grateful that I was here for this, and that I saw that, and that I took her in to find the murmur, because a lot of times this stuff is asymptomatic and owners don't know that their cats are having heart problems until it's too late. And at that point, it's like just making them comfortable. And that is just an absolute nightmare. So the fact that I had brought her in, I saw that, it changed everything. It likely changed her odds, her survival odds. I know this is super, super triggering, because I know it's not like an uncommon thing for a cat to have this kind of like heart problem. Being on Reddit, hearing the horror stories that owners are going through, I just had to stop looking at it, honestly. If you have a horror story about a cat that you've had or know about that has had the same thing as Delilah, I just ask that you please just refrain from leaving it in the comments. I can't handle that right now. Although I know it is probably coming from a good place of just trying to warn me about things, because I know a lot of you know a lot about cats. You've taught me so much, but I think in this circumstance, what I'm asking is just support, and any positive stories that you have of like success stories of cats taking to a Tylenol. I welcome that so much. I'm not trying to like censor anybody. I know there's big feelings that come with this, and I know a lot of you like have dealt with cat loss a lot. So like I'm not trying to discredit that. It's just kind of like where I'm at in this whole process. Thank you for respecting that boundary. My focus now is just to stay hopeful, because in the past week I really haven't. Even though, you know, there's a lot of good things that have happened with this. Like even knowing about it is it's a huge plus to be able to treat it, I feel like, relatively early. So because I am a crazy cat mom, I feel like a psychotic for the amount of testing we've done with this cat. I have an appointment, not this Friday, but next Friday, with a neurologist. It's just a consultation to see if he thinks that we need an MRI, which I don't take that lightly. I only will do it under his recommendation. But she has done a lot of paw licking. I say that as Gordo's licking his paw. I don't know, like the seizure episode or whatever I saw could be indicative of epilepsy. It could have been the aftermath of a stroke. I don't know. So there's a lot of unanswered questions. And just because I saw that episode and the doctors so far don't know the relation, if it's related to the heart, I'm just going to go get a consultation and just to rule everything out. Because it's likely a congenital issue, I have concerns about Gordo. I did catch him having a coughing fit the other night on Sunday night. And then I took him into the emergency vet. I think I was panicking a little bit based on like Deli's test results and stuff. I'm just like, I just want to take him in just to see if he has a heart murmur. Like, I'm putting these cats under so much stress. I'm going crazy here because it feels like both of them have something going on that I don't really know what it is. And the best I can do is just take them in. But my friend Skylar actually came over to watch Deli while I was at the vet with Gordo, and then after 3 hours they ended up having such a full ER that they just turned me away because he obviously wasn't urgent, which I totally understand. My understanding was I wasn't taking him to the emergency room, I was taking him just to my vet, and they helped me make an appointment for that night. So, and they were very, very understaffed. I wasn't a fan of the doctor who examined Gordo, but he did check twice and said Gordo doesn't have a heart murmur. I would still in the future like to do a cardio snap test just to make sure. To be honest, like the cats are just about 50% of what has been happening this last week. That has been extremely overwhelming. I'm not trying to give excuses or feel like I have to defend myself, because again, like I know I don't have to explain myself, but there is like a whole nother thing that on top of this that has just made me melt down and spiral. It's a good thing though, and I finally get to talk to you about it hopefully in the next week or so. That's what I'm hoping. Yay, so I guess stay tuned for that. But like when it comes to my cat's health, it really just, everything else just feels unimportant. Honestly, if you saw my community post that I wouldn't be able to post, I'm like, oh, I have another video already filmed dealing with the emotional sides of hair loss, and I literally got my hair cut. And I slicked it back so it wouldn't ruin the surprise when you saw the video. But like, I got my nails done and like doing things to help my confidence, but I'm like, I cannot post this. I can't post this. None of this shit matters to me when dealing with kind of like life or death right now, but it's still like a very useful video. I'm not trying to invalidate, you know, my experience aging and getting older and dealing with hair loss and all this stuff. Like that is a huge emotional hurdle to go over. But for me, when I'm dealing with like, if my cat's gonna have another year of her life, it just seems like stupid and trivial, and I don't know. So that's why I made a whole separate video to tell you about all of this cat stuff before I post that. Yeah, I think you get it, right? You get it? I just have to say how lucky I am that I have the flexibility with my job to take a week off to take care of them. If I didn't have this flexibility of having YouTube as my full-time job right now, I wouldn't have even been able to get the cats to begin with. I mean, like even just one cat, let alone 2 cats, handling this on your own, I've learned is really not easy at all. And I'm learning to lean into my village a little bit, asking Skylar to come watch Gordo to come watch Deli while I take Gordo to the vet, and allowing me to like be here to monitor them because her heart medication hasn't arrived yet. They had me order it on Chewy, and so I'm filming this on a Tuesday and it's supposed to come tomorrow. And this week is also going to be crazy because it's the weekend I'm supposed to be in Bermuda as a bridesmaid for like one of my best friends. And so speaking of like leaning into community, you guys, I have really an amazing mom. I really do. You guys know she lives in Oregon. She's been on my channel like once. She's flying out to New York to come watch Gordo and Deli and monitor Deli, especially while she's adjusting to her heart medication. And that is just such a special circumstance. And without my mom being able to do that, I wouldn't have been able to really go to the wedding. Priorities wise, like my cat's more important to me than anything. So like, I'm never gonna just like abandon her and leave her. And when she's at risk for like a stroke or a seizure while she's adjusting to new medication, I would never do that. But like, my mom is the reason why I could go to the wedding, and that is just the most meaningful gesture. You know, all my friends here are very hardworking people too. They have lives, they have jobs, and my mom's retired. So I don't feel like I could ask anyone to actually stay here while I'm gone this weekend to watch these cats. My downstairs neighbor was gonna watch these cats before I found out about her heart problems. And I mean, she volunteers at a cat shelter. She knows how to give cats medication. She's extremely nice and I really trust her. But like, I would feel better just having someone here 24/7 just to monitor, just to be safe, because I am going to do everything in my power to make sure that this cat has a clear echo in 6 months. That includes like switching up the food, finding new ways to hydrate. I'm also not done trying to diagnose him. I didn't give up just because I was turned away, but I will definitely be home a lot more in the coming months. I'm even considering if I need to dip out of the marathon so I can be home more. I don't know. I don't want anything I do to be the reason why she gets a negative prognosis. And I want to absorb all the time I can with her while, you know, I have her in case we just find out we don't have much time together. I can't thank you enough for your support, even sitting through. I thought this was going to be like a 5-minute video, but Lord, it is not a 5-minute video. Thank you for watching. Thank you for caring about me and equally my cat. We can continue to have these real, deeper life conversations about real life experiences, and that's all I aim to ever post on my channel. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for the support. I'll see you in my next video. I love you. Thank you. Bye.